Salespeople, in particularly top salespeople, come from an incredibly diverse range of backgrounds, walks of life. Having said that, there are a few key characteristics or values that I've seen top salespeople hold very dear. And from a managerial perspective, it's very much worth being aware of these and taking them into account when aiming to, motivate, manage, coordinate, and direct a sales team or individual sales members. And these are as follows. First off, freedom. Salespeople are absolutely enamored by freedom. They love the ability to do and act as they wish over the course of a day without extreme oversight. Earnings potential. Earnings is one of the key attractive factors of the profession overall, and anything that enhances that is going to be a great factor. Anything that's going to undermine that, very much the opposite. And finally, reputation. Salespeople will make or break their careers based on their reputation within the marketplace, within the company, individual customers. These are the basis of the deals that they're able to do. So those reputations are extremely important to them. And so anything that could damage that is absolutely to be avoided, because it's all about the long-term reputation. Companies can come and go, jobs can come and go, but if certainly they're staying within the same industry, their reputation, their relationships within that industry are the key factor. So we'll examine each of these in turn and then wrap up with a summary. I believe that many salespeople, if they were not in that profession, would have been founders of companies. They would be entrepreneurs. It's a very entrepreneurial spirit and characteristic that you will find. And freedom is absolutely at the heart of that. So the ability to choose one's plan, to stage their travels, prioritize their accounts, their customers, what they need to do to make things happen. All of those freedoms are absolutely important to someone. Now, there's this interesting and delicate balance about oversight. Yes, we do need oversight, that's understood. There's guidance, there's support that's needed, obviously all understood. And certainly with a more entry level or newly commissioned into the scheme salesperson, there's going to be a little bit more oversight. However, more senior salespeople are certainly those who are bringing in the numbers or more numbers than are even required by the targets. They will expect that they have earned a degree of freedom. They will expect that they have earned the right to be trusted with that freedom. And companies that enact oversight in ways that is not necessarily helpful, it absolutely can be counterproductive. So it's a factor definitely worth bearing in mind. So an example of what I would consider overbearing oversight comes from a colleague of mine who worked for a firm, not for very long, I must add, where the standard operating procedure was a daily timesheet that was broken down into 5-minute intervals. Yes, 5 minutes. So they were expected to account for every single movement, phone call, stop off for a coffee, what have you, done over the course of the entire day and submit that. And it was very time consuming and it really showed a complete lack of trust. It's not something that's going to endear someone to be working with that company for very long. Earnings are a key motivating factor for salespeople. It's one of the major attractive facets of the industry. It's what drives people into it and makes them stay there. The ability to put in the extra hours, which may mean super early mornings, late nights, and what have you, to derive financial benefits, which enables them to make lifestyle choices for themselves and their families, really is the bottom line for many people in the industry. And so anytime a company is looking to make sure that their sales team is motivated, is on point and working well and making things happen, is simply the alignment of the sales targets and the bonus structure to something that's realistic, that's achievable, maybe a bit of a stretch, but achievable, and brings in the business for the company. And anytime that rule is broken and salespeople are presented with targets that seem perhaps arbitrary or beyond any normal or even stretch normal capability, and it's all just a bit of a sham, and that bonus is really dangled out there but it's not achievable, it makes people feel less inclined to go after that. It also makes them feel less inclined to stick around the company for very long. Likewise, capped earnings. This is a feature that we do come across from time to time, and it baffles people because they reason, well, if I could bring in 2 to 3 times the sales of the average person in the company, then why can I not expect to earn a considerably higher amount? And why should I be capped at a certain arbitrary figure? So it just doesn't give me any motivation to sell beyond that because I'm not going to earn any more beyond that. So again, having these things in alignment will just ensure a much more harmonious situation for the company, the salesperson, and retention. Reputation is an extremely important thing for a salesperson, particularly if they've decided to make a career of it within a certain industry or sector. Their long term reputation is what is making or breaking their career. It's really as simple as that. If they're able to build and sustain relationships with the key players, no matter what happens, if players are moving from one firm to another, if the salesperson is moving from one firm to another, it doesn't matter so much. They've got those relationships intact. They have entry, they have the ability to develop business no matter where they are or who they're with. So if you have a person, say in the scenario that I was in a few years ago when I had sold thousands and thousands of products that were due to be delivered over about a 3 month period, way in advance, months in advance, more than 6 months in advance. And the delivery just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. There was no warning. Failed, absolutely fell flat on its face. Everything was late and it was a bit of a disaster. We were able to recover the business for the following year, but it was a big impact that year, not only for the company, for my own sales and my own commission and what have you at the time, but a real ding in the reputation. And salespeople really can't afford many dings in their reputation in that type of environment because it just means that doors will close, and once doors are closing in your face, you don't really have any way of making an income stream. So, massive failures of reputation are often irrecoverable. So, if you're looking at it from a managerial point of view, what can be done? Well, first of all, make sure that the sales team are making realistic and reasonable promises because, sometimes there can be a tendency to overpromise and underdeliver if someone is not smart about what they're doing. But, putting that thing to the side, it's all about the company making good on its promises. And if it's not able to do so, to make sure that it puts things right, that it really puts things right, not only with the customer, but with the salesperson that's been affected as well. If impacts are felt that really had nothing to do with the salesperson whatsoever, they did their job, but it fell through at the last minute, then having some consideration goes really a long way. So keeping the relationship intact for the salesperson is going to be the best way to maintain that their relationship with the company remains intact, because if there's a breach there, then the retention is just going to be problematic for that person. So in summary, from a managerial perspective, just being aware of some of the key drivers and major characteristics, things that are important to your salespeople, is going to go a long way to helping you understand the best way to manage and motivate them. And among these factors, it's been my experience that the key ones seem to be freedom, having the ability to pick, choose, and decide to earn a degree of freedom from the company from excessive oversight, earnings potential to be able to work hard, earn hard, hit targets that are realistic, make bonuses, and not feel demotivated because bonuses are just not going to be achievable, and also a company that's going to stand by someone to help them build a good, solid, long-term reputation in the industry, because not only is the company's reputation important, but the salesperson's reputation is important. And for the salesperson, actually their relationship with the end customer in the industry can be more important to them in the long run than it is with the company. So that's worth bearing in mind. You have to work hard to earn their respect and their retention.